Hey, hi, and welcome to my channel. My name is Chastity. Here we talk about beauty, entertainment, celebrities, books, movies, anime, TV shows, and kind of anything else that garners my attention this week. But before we get into today's video, I am a part of Amazon's influencer program. So if you click the link in the pinned comment below, it'll take you over to my Amazon storefront where you can shop all of my favorite things. So if you want to do a little shopping while also supporting me, click the link in the pinned comment below. And today we are talking about Stranger Things Season 4, Chapter 2. Like always, spoiler warnings because I can't help it. I have a lot of feelings and most of them are not good. Season 4 of Stranger Things is probably my least favorite season thus far. I think Season 1 is really great. But I feel like any show that has a really strong first season, it is always hard to like top that because you really went in with like no expectations and they blew out the water versus shows that don't have a good Season 1 but then they progressively get better. I feel like Season 1 was just it was so great. I think it's been hard to match the same energy. Season 2 is a close second to how well that is done. But then like Season 3 isn't so great. And then we have Season 4. Now I will say that Chapter 1 is better than Chapter 2, but it is kind of weird to compare them because like Chapter 1 has like 7 episodes and Chapter 2 only has 2 episodes. But I feel like all we needed was 2 episodes from Chapter 2. I feel like Chapter 4 overarchingly is better than Chapter 2, but Chapter 2 has some of my best scenes and best acting in Stranger Things like history. But I've come to find out from the writers of Stranger Things that a lot of my favorite scenes were improvised. Don't know what you're doing if all the good scenes you didn't write, but okay. I maintain the opinion that it was not a good idea to make these episodes an hour and like 30 minutes long each. I feel like it was more of a detriment to the writers than it was a positive. And I really do feel like it just made things feel kind of slow and was drawing things out so you could fill out runtime, especially in the very last episode that is 2 hours and 22 minutes. And the first 2 hours and like 10 minutes is a completely drawn out fight scene. There's stuff that happened. I'm gonna get more into that later, but that whole episode was so long. It was so long. And then we get the last 10 minutes that is completely rushed. And I'm just like, what was the point of making this episode so long and then making the actual finale part so quick? I will get into that, but just know I absolutely hated that. Because the show has so many characters, they're all split off into different groups. The first group we're going to talk about is the California gang that includes Mike, Will, Jonathan, and Argyle. And then later, Elle joins the group. Mike is the most infuriating character in this show. I don't want to be like rude to like Finn, but his acting this season was definitely like it was not as good as other people. That he has scenes with Noah who plays Will and scenes with Millie that plays Elle, and they are blowing him out the water acting wise, and you can very much so tell they're giving like really great performances, and Finn's not. And I don't know, maybe he doesn't like how Mike is being written like how we feel, because like there are moments in this show, especially in Chapter 2, where like Mike is a shell of the character he was seasons 1 and 2. Like Season 3 he was becoming a bad friend because he was too busy, being enamored by Elle. But Season 4 he kicked it up a notch, and it was just like, are you aware that you're a bad friend? Are you aware that you are hurting the people around you? What's happening? Because there is a lot of continuity errors with like Mike's character. Like in part 1 when he was like very upset that Elle had hit her bully with like a roller skate. But I'm like, Season 1, didn't she like break your bully's arm and then make him pee himself? Like, and you thought that was cool then, but it's not cool now. That's interesting take. And then now, like, this was a kid that like he fiercely loved and protected Will. Will was his homeboy, Will was his best friend. Like, and to see him now barely even care about Will is so nasty. And then you see poor Will very obviously falling apart at the scene. Like, there is a scene they have this very like heartfelt like conversation where for some reason Will calls Mike the heart of their group. He's not. It's Dustin. But anyways, he calls him the heart, and that like we need you and you lead us. No, okay. And then like after this conversation, mind you, they're sitting next to each other. Will just like turns his head and starts sobbing uncontrollably. And Mike's just like, living in my own world, so great, living in my. I'm like, your friend is falling apart at the seams right next to you. How don't you notice that? And like, Noah, who plays Will, because in the first part of season 4, Will was useless. He was there, you know, willing it up, I guess. I don't know. He wasn't doing much. In part 2, we did get a lot of good monologues from Will, but that's it. He really wasn't an integral part of the story, but if you needed a good monologue, he was gonna give you one, and we got a couple of really good monologues. I also really enjoyed his scenes with Jonathan. Listen, okay, Jonathan is a good brother when he's not high, okay? Because he's very perceptive and he can tell that there's something going on with Will, which is another thing that was an issue because like they've been like dropping a lot of hints that like Will could possibly be gay, and so the writers and Noah himself have said that was going to be addressed in part 2. It wasn't. Anyways, okay, thanks, sure. Okay, because it's very, very obvious that like Will is in love with Mike, and it breaks his heart every time he sees him with Elle. But Elle's like a sister to him, so he's not like he's like suffering in silence, and no one seems to notice except for Jonathan. And Jonathan is doing his very best again when he's not high to be a really good brother to Will. Honestly, if he was being a better brother, he would have beat Mike's ass. But anyways, you know, you can't have everything. We also have a character named Argyle. Like, his whole thing is just being high all the time and saying bro. He's one of the many comic relief characters we have this season. We have too many. Because we have Argyle, we have Murray, but Murray's kind of like in between. Like, he's comic relief, but he is also really useful. And then we have Yuri, who I fucking hate. I hate Yuri, and I'll get into that. But Argyle, he's really just there to be fun. And like every once in a while throw out a really good idea, but really he's just the stoner friend. Next we have the Russia gang, which includes Joyce, Hopper, Murray, Enzo, and Yuri. I'm not gonna lie, the like whole Russia like plot, that whole section of the show, my least favorite section, and here's why. Listen, like the episodes would be going, these long ass episodes, and we got momentum, we're building up, and we're building, and then we would get to the Russia plot line and everything would like screech to a halt. I feel like that probably was on purpose for us to feel how dark and dreary, you know, Hopper was feeling in the Russian prison. But if anything, it just would like break my concentration, and when we got to those sections, I would lose focus in the episodes and end up doing other things. Because I swear I don't have ADHD. I swear I don't. But we just would get to the Russia parts and I would just lose focus and do other things, and then this hour and 30 minutes for an episode would take me 2 hours instead of the hour and 30. And it's just like, it just felt like episodes would be having good pacing, and that we would just get to the Russia sections and it just felt so slow. And it possibly could be on purpose. I still didn't like it. But it was much easier to digest in part 2 because they had escaped the prison, and like Joyce and Hopper, phenomenal acting. I think Joyce and Hopper and like Max and Lucas are the only two couples I actually like on the show, and like seeing them be a couple. I think those are only two couples with genuine chemistry. Joyce and Hopper, when I see them together, I just get so happy. Joyce is a fucking badass. Okay, listen, that woman has amazing intuition and don't nobody listen to her. Joyce is always right. When Joyce says a disturbance in the force, please listen to her. And I really enjoyed seeing her and Hopper back together. I think that's why maybe I didn't like the whole Russia plotline to begin with. It was because I think those are two characters that should always be together. They just bounce off each other very well. So to have them so far apart was very hard to watch, but it was nice to see them back together. There is a second kiss they do that the writers said wasn't script, and I have to ask the writers, what are you doing when all of your best scenes you did not write? But, because, like, I like Hopper. Hopper is probably one of my favorite characters, but I feel like, and in Stranger Things, this was probably one of the only shows where I actually enjoyed the parents. Like, most shows that have, like, teen characters, they'll have, like, one or two episodes focused on the parents. Those are usually the worst episodes. But that's not normally the case in Stranger Things, but I feel like in this season it was. I just feel like the Russia plotline was so far removed from everything else. And then in the end, when how they tied it all together felt kind of lazy to me. To me, it did. It felt like, well, we have to connect these two together. How are we gonna do that? How are we gonna do that? Oh yeah, hive mind. Okay, because there still is no explanation how the Russians got the mind flare and got so many baby ones. We just know they have them. Okay, sure. I like Enzo. He's fine as a character. Doesn't really do much for me. Like, he's just fine. Like, he's not annoying, but like, if he would have died this season, I would have been fine. Um, Murray is great comedic relief. He always has a good idea. He's fun. I like him. Yuri, I don't think each group needs like two comedic reliefs. One is fine, but like two, Yuri is just batshit crazy and just annoyed me the whole time. The Nevada gang includes Al, Dr. Burnett, and Owens. Can I just say, Millie Bobby Brown is an actress, okay? She acts her ass off when she is playing Elle. That's why it's so hard seeing her in scenes with Mike, because Finn is not putting in the same effort that Millie is. And they're supposed to be a couple, and they lack so much chemistry because the acting is not equal. Millie is giving it her all. I don't feel like Finn is. And so the scenes feel so one-sided sometimes, where it's like, Millie is really an actress. She is pulling something from nothing. Millie is taking the scraps that these writers are giving her and making diamonds. And like, so phenomenal. So phenomenal. This girl can act. I think my only issue with Elle this season, right, is how long it took for her to get in the mix. Like, I don't really mind, like, in part one, because the whole thing is her, like, training to get her powers back. But in the last episode, she is not a part of the fight until, like, 2 hours in. Like, the last 20 minutes, Elle is actually an active participant in the battle. And even that is still so drawn out. And I think that was probably my least favorite, like, boss battle of Stranger Things history. It's, everything about it was not good. But, like, it took forever to get Elle there. And I was like, she's such a necessary piece of the puzzle, and she's just now part of nothing. But we still got some really good scenes. Hawkins' gang includes Steve, Eddie, Nancy, Robin, Dustin, Lucas, Erica, and Max. Can I just say that Sadie, who plays Max, carried season 4 on her back. When I tell you, she gave us acting performances. She was literally teaching a master class on how to act. Oh my god. Like, part 1 was all Sadie. Sadie is the only reason why I even finished the first half, because her scenes were just so good. Like, she was really acting. Plus, her scenes with Caleb, who plays Lucas, those two have chemistry. Like, Joyce and Hopper have amazing chemistry for adults, but Max and Caleb have just the right amount of chemistry for children, because there's love there, there's playfulness, there's flirtiness, everything you need is there. Caleb was also acting down this season. Caleb, or should I say future Oscar winner, because I see an Oscar in this young man's future. He is talented. In part 2, gave the best performance ever in Stranger Things history. He is so talented and so phenomenal. And him and Sadie just bounce off each other so well. The second, it's like them and like Joyce and Hopper. They're neck and neck on best couple with the most chemistry on the show, because they really have it. When I tell you that Sadie and Caleb have the it factor, those two are actors. They act. But we also got good performances from Millie, from Noah, from Gian, especially in the last episode when Gian is talking to Eddie's uncle and has this really gut-wrenching conversation with him about Eddie's death. That was probably Gian's best scene in Stranger Things history as well. Like, close second to when he goes back in the upside down, tries to save Eddie, and he has like a broken leg and he's holding him. That was also a really good scene from Gian. But talking to his uncle, that was good. And then Noah, like I said, gave monologues down in part 2. And Millie, an actress, a young actress, so talented. But Sadie and Caleb, they kept the show afloat. You know, there would be no show without these two. They really acted down, which is why I hope Max survives like season 5. It's the last season, but I hope she regains consciousness, because she is one of the best actors on the show. What are we gonna do if she dies? Caleb can only do so much by himself, right? Because like his character is not fully fleshed out. It's not a real person. Like Lucas is Lucas, and like Caleb is talented enough to bring life into this poorly written character. But like, what can he do without Max? He's able to pull more out with Max. So I really hope that she lives, because you're one of your best actors dead. What are you gonna do? How are we gonna get emotional scenes? Some people were very surprised by Eddie's death. I really don't know why, because this completely fits into this show's formula, where we get introduced to a new, very likable, very lovable character that we all get extremely attached to, and they're part of the gang, and they're a little bit cowardly, but they're still super duper lovable, and we love them a lot. And then in the last episode, after episodes upon episodes of being very cowardly, they have one moment of bravery, sacrificing themselves for the group, and dying. Rinse and repeat every single season. So I was really shocked why everyone was surprised that Eddie died. It made complete sense. It fits the formula. This show is low-key very formulaic when it comes to specific plot points, arcs, characters, stuff like that. And this is a very predictable plot line for Stranger Things. New likable character, because it really does feel like there is no stakes for our main characters. Like, I think like Max being in a coma is probably the biggest stakes any character has ever had, because like they were supposed to kill off Hopper, that didn't happen. They originally were supposed to kill Steve, that never happened. I really think the show has difficulty killing off its main characters, but Max is the one time where I don't think a main character needs to die. Because again, Sadie, one of the best actors on this show. What are we gonna do if she dies? I can't watch Mike for any much longer. I am getting nothing from this boy. Great cheekbones, but nothing else. So I really hope, again, I keep coming back to this, I just need Sadie to make it through season 5 and wake up. Please. Best actress needs to be awake. But Eddie's death was predictable. It was supposed to happen. Now, I do like Eddie. I really do, which is why like I have issues with like him dying. Not that he died, but the fact that, again, we have 2 hours and 22 minutes. We get a 2-day time skip. And in those 2 days, the only person that seems actually affected by Eddie's death is Dustin. That doesn't make any sense. Because, like, Eddie was Mike's, Lucas, and Dustin's dungeon master. I think the costume, is the hair and makeup people or the costume department said that, like, the reason why Mike even grew his hair out so long is because of Eddie, right? So they had a very good relationship with Eddie. Why is the only one, like, feeling anything Dustin? Also, like, even though, like, Robin, Steve, and Nancy really didn't know Eddie that well, Eddie still sacrificed his life for them. He put himself in unnecessary danger to give them more time and to protect them. And nobody but Dustin seems to care. Because what I wanted to happen with Eddie dying is, instead of them, coming together and having a funeral for him, they hold a graduation for him. Because, like he said, 86, this is his year. And we didn't fucking get that. And I was just like, he just dies and we just get a beautiful moment from Keaton, a beautiful performance talking to Eddie's uncle. But I wanted more. The whole point of you killing off a character is for us, the audience, to see the ripple effects of that death and how it affects the characters. Like, you did it with Billy when it came to Max, which, beautiful, beautiful scenes. Because Max is dealing with grieving the death of someone that she really didn't like. Because that is very hard when there's people that, like, are family and they weren't good to you. They weren't. But then they die and it guts you. And she's in with survivor guilt, and we got to see so much, and we got amazing performances by Sadie, because grief is such a complex emotion, and every actor, when they get a moment to grieve in scenes, gives their best performances. That is why Keaton's best performance is him talking to Eddie's uncle. That is an amazing scene because of grief and pain and strife. And we didn't see that with anyone else. Just with Max, with Billy, and Keaton with Eddie. And that makes no sense. What was the point of killing him then, if we're not seeing the effects of his death? You did it to be shocking, you did it to be cool. I think the biggest issue I have with Stranger Things is the lack of character growth. So let's look at the core 4 characters: Mike, Will, Lucas, Dustin. Now, Mike has digressed as a character and is a shell of who he used to be. The writing for Mike... Did I say Will or did I say Mike? I'm talking about Mike. Mike is a shell of who he used to be. The writing for Mike is not great. The acting for Mike is not great either. Just a lot of not great things happening with Mike. And he's just kind of there at this point. But we're talking about Lucas, Dustin, and Will. They are the exact same characters they were season 1. Any decision they're making now, they would have made season 1 and vice versa. There has been no growth. There has been no change, especially with Will. Will has gone through so much, and it's seemingly the same person, just with, like, the upside down spidey senses. And that's it. But, like, none of these characters have changed, for better or for worse. At least Will, there's something that changes. Not great. He's not the same character, but for all the wrong reasons. I feel like the reason why we have this is because there are too many characters. There's too many characters. Like, there are so many people on this cast, and the writers are too afraid to kill anybody that we have to, like, split them up into 4 groups. Too many people. Too many people on this cast. And because there's so many people, we have so many people to focus on, you can't adequately grow these characters. Characters that have changed are like Steve. Season 1 Steve would not make the same decisions that season 4 Steve is making, and vice versa. He's a completely different person than who he used to be, and we can see it in every single scene. Elle has grown a lot since season 1. She's a stronger person. She's dealing with feelings and emotions she never had to deal with before, and it's great to see that. Then we have Max, who is dealing with the repercussions of everything she's gone through. We're seeing it affect her. We're seeing her, fall into this dark, dark pit. But the thing is, we're not seeing the same overarching growth in the rest of the characters. There are too many people on this cast for there to only be a handful of them that are growing and changing. The fight scene with Vecma was so drawn out. Can I say something that does not make any sense to me, right? Is when Nancy, Steve, and Robin got like grabbed by the like vine things and they were like definitely like choking them. There is no way that at the barest minimum they did not like pass out, because you can tell like after the scene that like Steve has like marks on his neck. So it wasn't like the vines were just holding them down, like they were very much so choking them. And like it does not take much to choke someone out to the point of passing out. It doesn't take that much work. So at the barest minimum, they should have been unconscious, and at the most extreme, they should have died, because they were being choked for like, again, the first 2 hours is the fight, is them trying to deal with Vecma without Elle, and Elle kind of comes the last 20 minutes. And it's like, the vines were choking you out for a minute. It doesn't make sense that you just walked away with like a bruised neck. Like, to get a bruise on your neck from being choked, you've probably lost consciousness. I think that doesn't make any sense. Also, like, I'm confused on Elle's powers, because it's more like moving shit. You know what I mean? Like, but she was able to bring Max back to life. And I feel like across sci-fi, if you can fuck with like life or death, then a character is OP. So how couldn't you have defeated Vecma? That doesn't make any sense to me. If you can like say fuck you to like death, you're an OP character. She should be beating Vecma's ass. That didn't make any sense to me. I also got a lot of continuity errors this season. Like, everyone knows the whole like Will's birthday thing, completely forgotten. And the fact that like this season as well, when they go to the Upside Down, they find that it is frozen on the same day that Will had gone missing, aka the first time that Elle opened the gates to the other side. But then we find out that that wasn't the first time that she opened the gates. It was with her battle with Vecma that she opened it and sent him through there. But in season 1, like all the people at the facility talk about that this was the first time that she opened the gate, but it wasn't actually. And then it's like, if it wasn't the first time, like when Will went missing, that wasn't the first time the gate opened, why did the gate decide to freeze on that specific day? And we really didn't get any explanation on that. And I don't like that, because that makes me very confused. Like, I don't like being confused. That doesn't make any sense why when she opened it the second time, that is when the Upside Down freezes. Because not that the Upside Down freezes every time you open it, because the gates have been open since then, and time has not moved. That confuses me. I think that is super, super weird. But yeah, that's it for me. What are your guys' thoughts and opinions on season 4, part 1 and 2 of Stranger Things? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What did you like? What didn't you like? Favorite characters this season? Least favorite characters this season? Were you heartbroken with Eddie's death? Are you excited? I don't know, girl. Something. But yeah, leave all your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. Can I just say, it's been a while since I've like sat down and filmed a YouTube video. I've done plenty of TikToks in the month I have been posting here, but like sitting and doing long form content, this was a bitch. It was like I have never filmed anything in my life. Couldn't get sentences out to save my life. Okay. Any life updates? My birthday is coming up July 26th, so Will I vlog? I won't. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all that I will vlog that day, but I will maybe make a video because my birthday's on a Tuesday. And I usually post on Tuesdays now, so I might post something that day. I don't know. But oh, I got a new tattoo. Got it done Sunday. Today's Tuesday. This should be up today. If I'm good, is how early I'm filming this. This should be up today. Let me try to move my arms so you can see. It's a trippy butterfly. I'm trying so hard. Can you see? It's still very early in this healing stage. I haven't even really started like scabbing for real yet. Like I'm starting to feel the scabs. The scabs aren't coming off yet. So that's gonna be really gross and exciting. But yeah, that's it. Nothing's really happened.